So we got to see Xbox's first ever developer direct. In some ways it's very similar to Nintendo's direct, with it being its own showcase of games separate from that of E3 and the Game Awards show. We got to see a number of games, one of them being secret up until it was shown off at the developer direct. And what is up guys, Andrew from the Den Men here, and today I want to take a look at the Xbox game showcase known as the developer direct. If you are excited, make sure you hit that like button and comment which of these games you are most excited for. With that being said, we have a lot to go over today, so get comfy, relax a little, and let's get right into the video. First things first, I'm going to start off with what I thought about the show itself, and then after that, take a look at each individual game. So for something that basically came out of nowhere, I thought this was a very enjoyable experience. I think the best part for me was that we were able to see long durations of gameplay for each of the titles instead of these cinematic trailers. It was good to finally get to make an opinion on something like Redfall, and a little more surprising with Tango Gameworks' latest project. What's even better about this showcase is that most of these games, with the exception of Forza, got release dates, and all of them will be in the first half. In the past, Xbox has struggled with having good console exclusives for the first half, so it is good to see them switch it up for 2023. I will say what I think could have been better with ESO's portion of the showcase, with it being so short and not what you would want to see, but we'll get to that later down the line. Overall, I'd say Xbox and Bethesda really delivered on a great showcase, and I hope they continue this going into the future. I think there's some real potential here when we get into the heavy hitters like Fable or Avowed. One game in particular we'll be seeing very soon, with Starfield getting its own showcase, which I can't wait for now that I've seen what they look like. I hope we get it sometime soon, but with that, let's get right into the games that were at this developer direct. The first game that we got to see was one that took me by surprise, with Minecraft Legends. Going into the showcase, I wasn't really expecting anything from this, but found myself pleasantly surprised and looking forward to the release of the game. During the direct, we got to see the game. What found me quite interested in the game is the PvP portion we will be seeing. There will be both PvP and PvE aspects to Minecraft Legends, with it getting its own single player campaign. But let's talk for a second about the PvP side to it. From what we saw, it will be focused on team versus team battle, with base building playing a heavy hand in it. There will also be other little details as well, like mob recruiting, traps, and laying down siege weapons to rain down fire on the enemy base. I like the idea of strategy playing a big part in your team's success, with different players coming up with different ones to help secure victory. Minecraft Legends will be releasing on April 18th, so for me this is definitely one I will be checking out. Next up, we have Forza Motorsport. Now I'm not gonna lie and say that I've played past Forza games, because I haven't, but one thing that I can say about it is that it looks beautiful. I love the graphic design of the game, and ray tracing really pulls in the immersion of it all. I was actually surprised to find myself so invested in a racing game, because Forza Motorsport looked great. I'm a little disappointed though, because out of all the games that we did see, I would have said that Forza would be a slam dunk for coming out in the first half. What's even weirder is that we didn't even get a release date for it, with it set to come out sometime in 2023. I'm sure we will get it sometime soon, but to go into your direct that somewhat highlights games coming out in the near future just to find out that one of them will not be out so soon was a strange decision. The game that had me amazed from what we have seen is our next one with Hi-Fi Rush. Who would have thought that Tango Gameworks would be back so soon with its next title, and especially one that isn't a part of the horror genre? Looking back at their past games like The Evil Within, and more recently with Ghostwire Tokyo, this is a major contrast to those titles with Hi-Fi Rush. This game really reminds me of Sunset Overdrive from its animation and its gameplay, but what intrigues me so much about Hi-Fi Rush is the combat. Everything in the game itself moves to a beat, with it having a heavy influence for the game. Combos, puzzles, and your hits will all play off of the beat of the game, so it is definitely an interesting one. It isn't a requirement to play off of the beat, but there's some good rewards for doing so. Altogether, I wasn't expecting this one to be at the showcase, and especially so soon. It looks like it will be that fun game that people who try it will end up loving it. The combat flow looks great, art direction also is intriguing, and I'd say the more they kept showing it off, the more I found myself looking forward to it. The best part was I didn't even have to look forward to it releasing in 3 months' time, because it will already be released by the time this video comes out. This was a great move by Xbox in my opinion, because even though I don't expect to see this for every developer direct, it was definitely a good surprise going into the showcase. Our second to last one brings us to The Elder Scrolls Online. Now, if we just go off of what we saw in the developer direct, it was pretty subpar, but they did get their own standalone showcase after Xbox's where we got to see a lot about the next chapter of the game. It's kind of weird to me though, because I think they could have missed out on the direct entirely and we would have seen no difference with how it was presented in its post-show. As a whole, there wasn't really any gameplay that we saw during Xbox's showcase, but we did get the name of the next chapter with Necrom. For those who stayed till after the developer direct and into ESO's own showcase would have learned that we will be traveling to the easternmost part of Morrowind, with the big selling point being the Dunmer city of Necrom. There is a lot of mystery surrounding this city, but what is intriguing is that Hermaeus Mora will be playing a big part in the story of the chapter as well. We will also be able to travel back to Apocrypha for the first time since the Dragonborn DLC for Skyrim, so I'm excited to see how it will be changed. The biggest feature that we saw for ESO is a new playable class with the Arcanist. This will be the first one since the Necromancer all the way back in Elsewhere, but with a few changes this time around to make it seem different than what fans are expecting. We will also be seeing 2 new companions as well, with it following the trend that was started in Blackwood. And finally, further down the line, we'll be getting a new game mode to the game that, from what they described, sounds like a round-based mode similar to that of Call of Duty Zombies. I am definitely excited to hear more about this because this could be exactly what could liven up the game, with it getting to the point where it is shipping out the same content year after year. You can expect to see Necrom release on June 5th for PC and June 20th for consoles, so look for that in the near future. Overall, I'd say that the ESO we saw in the developer direct didn't exactly hit the high notes that the others in the showcase did, and I would have liked for them to go a little deeper into Necrom during the direct instead of leaving it all in the ESO portion of it. Finally, we have what was probably the biggest game of the showcase with Arcane's vampire title, Redfall. We got to get a good look into the setting of Redfall, giving glimpses into the different regions of the map, all of them a little different from one another. The combat and the characters looked like something that will be the driving force for the game, but from what we saw, I was kinda disappointed. Redfall looked too much like other games out on the market right now, with its first-person looter-shooter type of theme to it. It did look a bit slow from a gameplay point of view, but I will say that it didn't look bad at all. The fights with the vampires look to be like they will change up the way you will usually play, and the idea of it being multiplayer does have some potential to it if done right. I don't want it to feel like the co-op experience was just tagged along with the game and instead given some real depth. We didn't exactly get a good look at what that will be like from a functioning standpoint, but like I said, there is definitely potential for Redfall to blow my mind. I'm glad that we finally got a release date for the game, with it coming up on May 2nd. Even though Redfall didn't blow me away like some of the other games like Hi-Fi Rush, I do think it will have its moments. The developer direct brought with it 5 games that all had a decent amount of gameplay to look into. One of the best parts is that we saw release dates for most of them, so I'm definitely looking forward to playing games like Redfall and Minecraft Legends, and now even Hi-Fi Rush. Overall, this showcase was a great way to deep dive into these titles, so I hope they continue this moving forward. Starfield is our next one up, so I hope we see the showcase for it sooner rather than later. But that is all for me now though, guys. What did you think of the developer direct? Comment down below letting me know, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. With that being said, I will see you all next time.